first off, we're here with Travis Roland, the head coach at Mainland High School, the 2023 state champion. So
yes,
congratulations,
sir.
Coach. Good job.
Yeah, look at that. Let's go.
So the most important question that we have to start off with is, Coach, have you designed the state championship rings yet?
Oh, we absolutely have. We just got fitted for them. We had to pick a design, got fitted for them 2 Fridays ago. Yeah, so we're in the process now, and hopefully we're going to have a bunch of people, to help us out and really make sure these young men get the things that they deserve and things they're supposed to have. This is actually not the design. Detrick Maddox, though a Mainland grad, created this beautiful design, which we love. We've been wearing it on our chests and our T-shirts. Our community actually bought every band member, every football player, cheerleader, and managers, and coaches all a shirt that's like this. I was blessed. He donated me a hoodie, but you can also reach out to him if you would like a hoodie. If you want a hoodie from him. But no, we've designed them, and they're great. I can't wait. My dad thinks he's gonna get my old one, but no, he's not. He's not getting the old one. We're getting him one. He's around all the time on the sideline, just like us. But yeah, it was awesome picking them out. It was really hard though. Like you think it's gonna be easy, but then when you actually are in the process, like everything looks good, and you got to like decide: do you want the super aggravating, really, really big ones? You don't want to go too small. You want to make it look real. So it was quite a little process. It took us about, a week's time to, tell them what we wanted, get it back, make sure it was perfect. But I think we've got a really good design coming up here. So we're excited about it, and it was a great time.
And I'm sure no one at all had an input on what should be on the ring, like I see the city of Daytona Beach, the crosswalk on the shirt. I love that. I love the representation there.
Got to represent the city. So I bought the real head coach and my wife. So myself, Coach Mallory, our receiver coach, and Coach T, our assistant head coach, we kind of sat down and got it talked about and did some things. So posting this thing on my Facebook here. But yeah, we did a good job of getting it picked out. Everybody's on the same page. So, we're very traditional still in the sense we don't want to go off the wall crazy and do something too weird. I think the state championship ring is something that still should look dignified and look the right way, but also, be new age in a sense. So we're proud about that opportunity to be able to get this done.
So, Coach, you started, not maybe started, but you made pretty much a name for yourself as the defensive coordinator at Mainland High School. Yep. You left Mainland to take a head coaching job. You came back. Can you kind of talk us through that process and what it meant for you to come back to Mainland as the head coach?
Yep. So, man, honestly, I had great upbringing with the coaches that I learned under. When Coach Wilson brought me over from Seabreeze, the rival, funny enough, he brought me back as a co-coordinator with Coach JB, Jonathan Brown, who was my coordinator when I was in high school. So I learned under him, learned a lot under him, the preparation that goes into it. And then, Coach JB stepped back for his children and gave me the lead role in it. And we had some great football teams in those times, some great athletes. And sometimes when we weren't as big, but, we had kids that worked hard. So I learned a lot as a coordinator. Coach Wilson gave me the opportunity to kind of be his right-hand man and, learning some of the ropes to be a head coach. And then going to Flagler, I learned that there's a huge difference in being the coordinator, that when the phone rings, you can say, hold on 1 second. Let me give you the head coach's number. I learned very fast that I could not pass the buck on any phone calls when I became a head coach. And what's funny, man, you say you want to be the head coach of your alma mater. You want to have your opportunity once time comes. I honestly never thought Coach Wilson would ever leave. I thought he'd be there at least through his son, Colin, who played for us this year. Will graduate. I thought he would have coached at Mainland until now. And so when he stepped down, it sent shockwaves across the state, honestly, not just Central Florida. And, it was one of those things where I wasn't sure, man. I was, Coach, about Flagler County, man. It's a great spot. I loved it. The people took care of me there. So it was a lot more difficult of a decision than some people thought. But coming back home, I mean, that was the end of the day. It was like, man, I'm getting an opportunity to go back and coach at the place that I played at. And I didn't want to pass that up. I felt like that was, if anybody's job it was going to be, it was mine. It was a job that I should have had, that I should have been a part of. And once I, got back, I understood again, though, how hard it is to sit and see at Mainland High School. It's
Yep.
considered one of the best schools in the entire Southeast. So, to get there, and I immediately felt the pressure, right? Because I always say pressure is relative. But, walking into the schedule we walked into, and it was a top 25 hardest schedule in the country in 2021. And we lost a lot of kids. Like, a lot of people have seen the post game comments I had, with Bally Sports, where I talked about the journey from 2021. We lost 21 kids to transfer, man, and it was hard. We went 5-5. Everybody, felt like, okay, he really can't do it. Mainland isn't good anymore. Time has passed. This is who Mainland's going to be now. So to build back the Buck way, to build back the pride of being able to say Buck pride and Mainland is Mainland hasn't been a lot, because it's my alma mater and it's a great play. It's something I bleed. I bleed blue and gold. I'll bleed blue and gold forever. I'll be like I always say, Buck born. I'm gonna be a Buck living, and I'll be a Buck when I die. So it's a great thing that we've been able to get it accomplished. It was sweet as heck to win it for the alma mater, for sure.
And I can only imagine, I was in a similar situation where I left Atlantic High School to go back to my alma mater. And as you said, the pressure intensified. It's a different game when you go back to your alma mater and you know everybody in the community and they know who you are and they can just directly contact you. So it's a different animal when you've been in that community and you know people, and instead of making or just talking, they're going to call you on the phone and let you know what they think, or show up and tell you what they think, and it's a different level of pressure when you go back.
For sure, establishing those boundaries were big. I think in the very beginning, I did not do a good job of that. Because people look at you as Travis. It's not Coach Roland. Like when I come here, I'm Coach Roland. It's not just Travis. And I think sometimes people don't understand the position, or may not really want to respect it. And so we had to do a good job, because I think we have 7 graduates in the program that are coaching now. Yeah. And so we have to make sure we establish the line of communication, how that should work, and establishing those boundaries of, hey, you don't call my phone after this amount of time because I have bad time with the kids. I have a wife at home. All those things that need my attention. So that was definitely an adjustment, because I've had the same phone number since 2001. So it's like, people can look back.
It's the guys you used to play with. It's everybody in the community.
Everybody. I mean, you're talking about, I have my sister's son, her baby boy is on my team. I have my god brother is on my team. I've known his mom. His mom's older than me. She's known me since I was in diapers. I've got, like you said, some teammates. One of my teammates' son is about to graduate this year. So girls that I went to high school with, their children are on the team. Like, it's definitely a different thing, because again, it's hard for us sometimes to respect the position that someone holds when it's somebody we grew up with. So that's definitely been an adjustment, but it's been great, man. It's as time has gone, everybody learns each other and learns, how things are supposed to work. And we've done a great job working in tandem as a community. And I've learned how to, I was so available. I've had to learn how to make myself a little more less available. But it's community's been great. I'm so thankful to Daytona, man. I feel like we've definitely gotten the relationship back to where it used to be when we were in high school back in those early 2000s. I feel like we're back in that spot now where Mainland is the first choice for every kid.
Yeah, Coach. Talk about it a little bit. You kind of mentioned it briefly, and this is something, watching you on Twitter and other things after you won the state championship, this is something I have a lot of respect for. You probably don't know this because I don't talk to you as much, but
I appreciate it.
You always bring your wife and your family into it. Every picture,
Absolutely.
Everything you have, and that's so important as a coach. Talk a little bit about that, because that's something I watched you after you won the state championship, and everything was your kids are in your hand, your wife's there, all that stuff, and not every coach can do that. And I think that's a special thing when you can do that. So talk a little bit about your family, kind of work-life balance and all that.
Well, again, it starts with Thomas and Rose Roland, my 2 esteemed great parents. My dad always had time for me. He had his own construction company for 25 years, and my mom has been an administrator. She's retired now. She retired as this assistant superintendent for Volusia County Schools. So they both had busy jobs, but they always made time for me. And so I think that I had a great upbringing and the understanding early that family is always first and always should be first. And so, just coaching with, again, I've had great head coaches that I worked under, Coach Moranto, then Coach Beach, right? Mark Beach, and then Coach Wilson. You know, Coach Beach's son and daughter were always, Haley and Jacob were always running around. And then same thing with Colin and Alexa Wilson, always at the field, always running around. And so my biggest thing is, like, if I'm going to spend time with someone else's kids, I have to make sure I make time for my own family. Every head coach knows, I'm sure Coach Dixon knows, wives allow their husbands to coach football.
Yes.
Coaches don't just choose, they get to coach. The wives allow it. And so, you know, that's why my wife shared the dairy farmers thing on Twitter and Facebook, and I said to her, this is an us award, not me, because without her allowing me, you know, and being not so much allowing, but being on the same page and understanding my hopes and aspirations and dreams, her understanding those things have allowed me to do this job at a great level. And then with my kids, man, I'm not going to sacrifice my time with my kids for anybody. You know, no matter where this profession takes me, if it takes me to the best of football, right, where it's super competitive, you know, in different states and different jobs. We won a state championship this year, and there was one Sunday where we met past 3 or 4 hours. There were no 7-8 hour days. I didn't stay at the school till 9 p.m. watching film. I can go home and do that when my kids go to sleep after I do bath time if it's that deep. Well, we're not sacrificing any of those things. Like, you don't have to sacrifice your family. And so for me, you know, we live by forget about me, I love you, the acronym of family. We live by that. And I gotta, you know, my kids, man, that they're important. If my kids can't be a part, I won't be able to do it. You know, the minute my kids are losing me as a father, I won't be a football coach anymore. That's just how that's going to be. If the job requires that, it's not going to happen. And I make sure my coaches know we don't meet after practice. Like, that's what cell phones are for, man. Like, we text about that stuff and figure it out that way. But, you know, my family's just important to me. You know, I love them. Like, my parents put that into me. I've always felt their love, no matter how busy they were. And so it's kind of a natural thing that happens organically, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think just like you talked about, if you're not showing your kids what it's like to be a model husband and father, you're not doing the main part of your job.
Right.
At the end of the day, state championships coach, I've never come anywhere near one, so that's fantastic. I'm not trying to downgrade that at all. But it's way more important to raise great men in that community because, like you said, you may coach their kids one day.
Yep.
Right. Or you know, all that. So it's so important to raise great men. And I think that's one thing that I've definitely admired with you over the last, you know, month that I've kind of followed you on Twitter. I was like, wow, look at this, man. He is really pushing in on family. I love it. And to go back to one thing, Coach Dixon doesn't know about it yet, but he will soon because he is engaged and he's about to get married. So that'll be a thing he's going to learn real soon. So
the podcast, he's going to have to learn how to edit and schedule those things around date night.
We're figuring it out. We're figuring it out.
Right now, Coach.
It got us against the Coach Lodge one.
Yeah, we go at 8:15 at night, so I can put my daughter down. Because I can't miss, you know, getting her ready for bath time and all that stuff. And my wife
those conversations.
My wife still does 90% of the work because she's awesome, but I'm not going to miss that 10% of that I'm allowed to do. Right, I'm allowed to do certain things.
Correct.
So, Coach, let's transition a little bit back to football here.
Yep.
All right, just won a state title. It's the off season. What are you going out to try to find? What kind of answers are you looking for? You know, what coaches are you looking to find some solutions from? Kind of what are you going out and finding this?
I think the biggest thing for us, you know, depending upon what happens with our quarterback coach position. So, you know, hey guys, we're definitely looking for a quarterback coach, possible offensive coordinator opportunity. That, you know, the play calling part's got to be right. But definitely 1,000 looking for a quarterback coach. A lot of that's going to depend on, you know, what we can get as a quarterback coach, because we got to find that spot. Our AD, Coach TA, who coached him, is retiring finally because he's the AD and has become a lot. So he's stepping back. So we're definitely trying to figure out ways to continue to develop our passing game, our running game, and our schemes running the football are great right now, but we got to figure out how to continue to get better as a passing football team. So that's a big emphasis for us right now. That's where all the sessions I'm going to have been offensive because I ended up having to call the plays this year, not by choice. Just how some things happened with our staff late in the summer. But definitely trying to do that. So we're going to go to all the different clinics and even try to get back to going to some college campuses. I like the smaller schools because those are sometimes the coaches that are the best at what they do. So I like the FCS Division II guys because they don't have as much talent as some of the bigger schools. So and they're willing to share more sometimes too. So that's something we're looking forward to right now is kind of trying to finish our staff out. We've got a couple guys we're going to talk to here this weekend in a couple minutes once we probably get off of this. So you're definitely looking to get better offensively and passing the ball. We got some good young guys back in the program that can throw it and get better there.
Nice. Yeah, Coach, you said you lost your offensive coordinator. Snap bailed on you.
Yeah, man. Snap would, man.
Snap out.
Snap.
So 2 days before the season, he took a college job, but happy for him, man. That was a dream of his, so never want to get in the way of dreams.
So as a defensive guy, making the transition to now calling offensive plays, I know we talked briefly about this yesterday and your experience with that. For the defensive guys out there, what was your experience?
I will tell every defensive coach, we have it very, very easy.
See, I'm telling you, Kyle, right?
No shot.
The amount of preparation that goes into calling offense is absolutely insane. I could not believe just the tediousness that's involved, so much attention to detail. Like I always say, if I got too busy during the school day the night before and I couldn't make a script for practice, we could wing it. Right, I could say, hey, D-line, you guys work on this. LBs work on pass drops, and while you guys are in the ND, DBs, we're going to work on stop and flood, smash, and mesh, right, for the day. That's what we're going to do. And when we get the team, we can, again, figure it out. Offensively, that's not possible. All the coaches immediately, hey, coach, you got a script? You got a script for today? You got the script? You got the script? You got the script? So just have them do all that. And then the worst part was a defensive end can mess up and lose contain, and your linebacker go pull them up, and you're okay.
Yeah.
On offense, if any one of the 11 mess up, the play is over. It is over. So it was amazing to me, the attention to detail. When you're on the sidelines, defensive coach, and I'm like, just do this, just do that. It's like, coach, we can't do that because we haven't worked that. We didn't work that this week. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. You can go run this play. And then I realized this year, when we didn't rep something, and I tried to call it, man, wow. Yeah, but it's a lot, man. It's holding respect for football, honestly.
Yeah.
When I got over there, it reinvigorated me. Not that I was growing bored, but just going on offense. This is the most fun I had coaching football this year. I won't even lie. Literally, the most fun.
And then, to be honest with you, early in my career, I was an offensive coach. I'm definitely a defensive guy through and through, like you. But looking back on that, it gives you perspective, and it does help you game plan and do things like that. Once you see it from the other side of the ball, you get a little better at your side of the ball because you understand the mindset, right? And that's important. So if you're a young coach, don't be scared to hop sides. It'll help you. We promise.
You know what's crazy? I'm going to apologize to Coach Moranto right now. So I remember when I first came back, I coached a year for him, and then he was like, Travis, you need to go. I want you to coach running backs. And I was like, Coach, I'm a defensive dude. I'm like, you got you have my career skyrocketing already in year 2. I'm not going to coach offense. When I had to go coach offense this year, I was like, man, I wish I would have listened. I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. So definitely, I think a guy should, if you have aspirations to be a coordinator, a head coach, you never know what situation you're going to get put in. You definitely, if you don't go coach the position for a whole season, you should definitely end up trying to, when it's clinic time, you should definitely be trying to learn the other side of the ball to be better. Because, thankfully I had some time to get it done, but it definitely, I know I've become a better football coach, and going on offense has been really cool because I know what defense is trying to do.
Okay. So now for our offensive guys out there, you transition from defense to offense. And I assume you had some preconceived notions of offensive play and play calling.
Right.
What did you fall in love with now as an offensive coach? What concept that maybe you didn't fully buy into when you were a defensive guy? Or just something that surprised you as an offensive play caller?
You know what? I think the biggest surprise was how hard it is to make certain pass concepts fit in certain parts of the field, because everybody says, oh, it's zero coverage on the goal line, just throw a slant. That sounds really cool until the linebacker steps himself right out there in the window and picks it off and goes 99. And everybody says, why are you throwing the ball?
Yeah.
So I think just trying to find what concepts fit in what parts of the field. I think that's something that I truly didn't completely realize until I got into it. the red zone is the hardest place in the world, man. Like, I
yeah.
swear, having drives going to the red zone, like, I didn't like it. Because you literally, like, if you don't have a menu of stuff that truly works, it's difficult. And I mean, like that like, if I had a struggle this year, it was the red zone. Like, I would, like, if it was red zone pass game, like, I'll admit that through and through, and it almost reared its ugly head a little bit in the state championship game. We did end up completing the pass in the red zone for a tub, but like, definitely red zone passing. I feel like I didn't realize like how difficult it is. You got to come up with something really good down there, because the field is smaller. You know, the DBs aren't as nervous because it's not really like, if you get beat, it's a 20-yard touchdown pass as opposed to it being a 70-yard bomb. So they're playing really different down there. So I think for me, red zone passing game was the biggest surprise of how difficult it is and how prepared you got to be to kind of develop that piece of it. So that was a big surprise for me. I think that a lot of people don't really realize is where that thing comes in at.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now you know why those offensive coaches want that red zone drill, that goal line drill every week.
Yes, sir. I remember, like, it's just funny because even the prior year, like, we had some drives where things would stall out, and I was like, we're doing red zone every single day for the rest of the year. And then I'm like, okay, now I'm calling the plays. I'm like, wow, this actually really is difficult to make sure you get things worked out, because, and we're playing a good schedule, so we're playing with good coaches that are scheming things up too. So, it's a little more difficult, which is why the defensive coach in me is like, you know what, screw it, double tight. We're just going to run it right at you and say, let's play football that way in 2023, which nobody really wants to do anymore.
And you made a good point about the field spacing and understanding how routes fit into that. Not only do you have to understand it, but you have to get your players to understand it, and how being into the boundary or into the field changes up route concepts, and making sure your quarterback understands that as well. We always found that it was very important to, hey, we know what pass our kids, if we're between the 10 and 20 yard line, our kids know what pass concept we're going to run. If we're inside the 10, our kids know what we're going to go to there, just so that we could practice that and get good at that spacing, because it is very difficult in high school football, especially when the width of the hash into the boundary and in the red zone is a very tight space.
Yep.
Very tight.
Yep. So you saying that, like, that was, again, something that I learned too. Like, we all have this humongous menu of things that you could do, but I think it's so important that your kids know, like, this week the menu's to here, and this is what we can do and want to do. We shoot. There was a play, man. We that's why, like, 7-on-7, right? The hot topic of football. I used to love it. I now kind of hate it, but then now calling offense, I love it for the reasons of, if you're doing it you want to go win. Like, we want to win, and so you're gonna have some 7-on-7 pass plays. But if you can truly have your offensive stuff in 7-on-7, when you get to actual football in August, you can now work on other stuff. And, like, we called a play that we hadn't called in months, that we ran in 7-on-7, but we were able to call it in the game. Yeah. And because we had repped it so much, like, it was in our playbook, the kids were able to do it right away. But it goes back to you saying them knowing what's going on. Like, the kids got to know the plan just as well as the coaches.
And then you got to make sure the right personnel's on the field that actually rep that, and making sure everybody was in the same spot they were in when you were running 7-on-7, because so much changes during the season.
Coach, we had it happen in the state championship game. Like, we have a play that's called Cyclone. Like, it's for a specific kid to run the Cyclone route, and it's 4th and 2. We actually end up false starting, and the wrong kid was actually going to run the Cyclone route. And, like, we're looking on the sound like, what are you? And you don't want to scream and holler because it's going to make them flustered. It's already 4th and 2. The crowd's going crazy. But it's like, that was a moment of, like, man, they really are out there, and they kind of screwed up who's supposed to be where. But like you said, because the personnel was a little changed, it messed up who was where, and it threw it all off. So it's definitely about making sure that everybody's. That's what I said again. Defensive coaches, this is something that we don't really have to go through at times, because we're always, guys are just out there.
I understand that. I had the same thing happen against Apopka in the 2018 playoffs. We got down to a crucial point in the game where we're going to take the lead at the end of the game, and we call a play, and, you call it, and you see the kid go in motion and go, that's not the right kid. that personnel's wrong. And he messes it up.
Yes,
and we
sir.
throw an interception.
Yep.
And he wasn't even the route. But because he ran the wrong route or cut the route off too early, we end up, then there's a DB not where we expect him to be.
Absolutely.
It's so.
I'm still with Saban. Offensive guys are terrorists, so whatever. I don't even want to hear it. So, Coach, we always ask somebody. I got 2 questions left for you. I'm going to save the one we always ask for last. The first question I'm going to ask you, it's more of a statement. Will you quit sending kids to Florida?
Hey, so listen, Coach. You know what's funny about that, right? I'm a Florida State fan.
Me too. I worked there.
And everybody knows I'm a Florida State fan. So most people are like, dude, don't send them to Florida State. I'm like, even if I was trying, they aren't going. No, I mean, LJ grew up in Florida. Like, it's crazy because contrary to popular belief, I had no idea where either one of our guys were going, him or Xavier. I forgot that LJ, when all this first started, Coach, get me Florida, get me Florida, get me Florida. And because he loved him. So I forgot about that honestly from the beginning. And then with Xavier, I didn't find out until the early signing day. And he was writing his essay for school. And I was like, what's they doing? And she was like, he's about to write his essay for Bama. And she slipped. And I was like, because I didn't want to ever have to lie to anybody, right?
Yeah.
I just wanted I like being able to tell people I have no idea. Because I didn't want to have to lie to them. But now, Florida's done a good job recruiting some of our kids, man. Jakai had a great career there when he went. I think Avery would have had a great career there had he been able to stay, with the untimely stuff that happened with him. I think LJ's going to LJ's going to be amazing.
I don't want to see him in that jersey.
He's going to be
in a very respectful way. I don't want to see him in orange and blue. And
he's
much like you. I'm born and raised Seminole.
Yeah.
I worked there. I worked for Coach Fisher in 13, 14. So
I told him I hope they win every game.
But Florida
Except
State,
when they play Florida State. I hope he has 3 sacks against Florida State and they lose.
And you lose in double overtime or something. So I love that, Coach. So, hey, the last question we always ask every coach is, what is the most unique thing your program does that maybe no one else does or not a lot of other people do that you can share with coaches?
Wow, most unique.
It's a tough one. And we'll give you a minute. We'll kind of chat while you do it. We ask every coach this on every episode. We ask this one every time.
Mainland High School. Ooh, dang.
And it could be something in the community. It could be a fundraising.
It could be anything, Coach.
It could be something you do during the school day or one event per year. It could be a drill you do on the field.
Wow. Wow.
We love stumping coaches with this question. We never set them up for it either. So
it's always the best one.
You know what? One that comes to mind right away. I mean, I think a lot of schools may have something. I can tell you that we have been, and I put it on my social media. I can't remember what week it was. I said it's a war cry, right? We have sang the same chant before we do our little lap around the field before we warm up. Deep down in the valley, I heard a great voice. It was a mighty, mighty buck, and it went like this. Boom, 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 boom. Clack, 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 clack. We're number 1, and we can't be beat. We've sang that chant literally since 1994, 95. Wow. I think I've heard that chant, and it's been the same. None of the, sometimes lyrics get changed and switched up with new age stuff. That's been there forever. And then I mean, shoot, that's
Coach, I love that one right there.
Yeah, and I think the other one would be something that Coach Lester Davis brought to us when he came from South Carolina. Our letters to mom thing. We do it week 1. And the mom, I shared that out too. The moms are all boohoo crying because we have the boys write them a letter from the heart. We have a whole, nice dinner. Everybody's got to dress up. I think that's something unique too for us because you always want to. We thought about creating the Mainland experience. Like, people talk about Buck Pride and all that kind of stuff, but we want to make sure the kids have an experience. I think sometimes we as coaches make sure it's just a football part. We don't actually create the experience for them. And so that's what we've been trying to do by having different events that are non-football related. So you've got letters to mom, you have jerseys for dads. Those two major events for us. But the war cry is definitely something unique because, when we all played football, there was something that you did before a game where there was some kind of cadence on the pads or whatever. And I think some of that's now has fallen at the wayside for the pregame bullcrap trash talk that kids want to do at the 50 because their 7-on-7 coaches allow it. And I think for us, showing the discipline of everybody getting in line and everybody being ready to go and doing that war cry, that's been a big deal for us, I think, to be honest with you.
No, I love that, Coach. That's such a good answer. And we're always looking for those unique answers. You know, sometimes we get the canned one, and I'm like, no, give me something good, Coach. Like, give me one thing. And no, I love every bit about that. You know, Coach, thanks for coming on. It's very clear that Mainland's headed in the right direction, obviously with the state championship game, but even listening to you talk, when you talk about this experience and how much you guys care about your kids and family, Coach, you guys are in the right direction.
Thank you.
Nothing but good things are going to happen, clearly, from talking to you. I know that without having to watch a single down.
Yeah, we appreciate it, man. Thank you guys, as always. We welcome anyone that gives our program the opportunity to have a great platform like this. You know, I always say we're trying to build something different here at Mainland, and making sure that people understand that it's bigger than just a football team. You know, we're a program, and we are truly a family, and it's a great place to be. You know, it's not easy. You know, as we always say when I'm out there running, respect the logo. You gotta like it, you gotta love it, but you gotta respect it. So thank you guys for giving us the opportunity. Truly, we appreciate it.
Yeah, let's get you back on for a little X's and O's talk.
Absolutely, anytime. I'd love to do it.
Get you back talking some defense like a real coach.
Yes, that's what I'm going to talk about. Talk about that 3-3 stack for sure.
Love it. All right, Coach. Have a great one. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. We appreciate it.